Let's be real, you do not need 400 bottles of gel polish to be an artist. You just need to know how to mix like one. Hey guys, I'm Liz from Attain Cosmetics, and today I'm going to show you how to mix gel polish colors so that you can do a lot with a little. Just like painters don't buy every single shade of blue, they actually mix their own. We can do the same with nail products. Not many people talk about this topic because the beauty industry is famous for pushing overconsumption and trend chasing. But as anyone knows, it can get really expensive and really difficult to keep up. When I created Attain, I wanted my customers to be users, not collectors. I wanted them to understand the joy of actually finishing a whole bottle of black or white. And that means that you're creating, you're not hoarding product. So let's get into how we can be better users, do a lot with a little, and actually get more out of the high quality products that we're investing in. So if you've never gotten into color theory before and maybe you find color to be very overwhelming, it's actually really simple if we break it down. The color wheel allows us to see the main groupings of color and how we get them. Primaries is where we start with red, blue, and yellow. Then we get into secondaries, which come from mixing primary colors together. So if we add blue and yellow, we get green. If we add red and yellow, we get orange. And if we add red and blue, we get purple. Then we have tertiary colors, and tertiary colors come from mixing primary colors like red with secondary colors like orange. And these are usually colors you'll see hyphenated, like red, orange, blue, violet, etc. Hue refers to the actual color itself. So let's say we're talking about blue. Blue is the hue. Then we can actually create values of blue. So we can create shades, tints, and tones of blue. Shades come from adding black. And an easy way to remember this is just thinking about shade like the shade from a tree. We're creating darkness by adding black. Then we can get into tints. Tints is where we add white to a color. So if we take blue and we add white, we can create different values and different tints of blue, and we can go all the way up to super pastel, almost white versions of it. Then we can create tones. Tones we make by adding gray. So we can take blue and gray and create a different tone. We can actually create lots of different colors out of just a handful of product. To do this, all you're going to need is a few of your high quality gel polish colors, like from Attain. You're going to need a glass palette like this or some kind of mixing area, or you can even mix colors right on our mats. You're also going to need some type of tool to mix with. I love using the Attain application brush because I can use one end to mix the product and then I can use the other end to actually apply the product. So because it's fall, let's talk about making different colors using Rhubarb, Stark, and Pitch. So I have 3 swipes of rhubarb on my mat. I have Stark on the top and I have Pitch on the bottom, and that's going to allow me to experiment with creating those different values. So I'm going to create a shade of rhubarb on the bottom and a tint of rhubarb on the top. So let's start with the other end of our application brush, and I am just going to mix these 2 colors together. So if I take the end of my brush and I just swoop down here, you can see I get this really beautiful, dark, mysterious version of rhubarb, which is wonderful for fall. Near blacks are trending right now, so instead of having to buy a near black shade that you're probably only going to use once, you can create a near black shade by just adding black to your existing colors. Then I'm just going to wipe off the end of my brush, make sure it's nice and clean, and then I can play around with making a tint of rhubarb. So let's mix Stark and rhubarb, and we're going to get a really beautiful pink. So you can see by creating tints and shades of colors, I can expand my color library without having to buy more gel polish. Now to finish this off, let's add a little bit of gray to create a tone of rhubarb. Putty is a very, very soft gray, very neutral gray, but I have a feeling this is going to create a really pretty color. So it creates this gorgeous kind of rosy mauve, and this is how we get a tone of rhubarb. So as you can see from just 3 bottles of gel polish and just adding either black, white, or gray, I can create infinite versions of one specific color like rhubarb. I can follow along with seasonal trends. I can go from spring to summer to fall and winter, and I don't have to actually buy any of these colors in a bottled format. I can make my own as I want. Attain is very different from most gel polish companies. I took years of experience in the professional industry and infused it into this brand. And not only did I want to address allergies and sensitivities head on by actually creating a formula that was safer for people to use, but I wanted to also incorporate creativity in a fundamental way. Instead of overconsumption and feeling pressured to buy every single trendy color that gets launched, I wanted to actually teach my customers how to get the most out of just a handful of colors. And I wanted you guys to be able to focus on investing in quality instead of just collecting a bunch of quantity. I hope today's tutorials helped you get an intro into color theory and how you can take just a few colors and create beautiful shades, tints, and tones, how you can follow along with seasonal trends with just a few key colors. And next time, I'm going to show you guys best practices for mixing colors as well as talking about storing them so that you don't end up wasting a bunch of your precious product and you know exactly how to proceed with creating beautiful color recipes. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.